ジガムはガムとゴム両方の性質を合わせます。
What is up, everybody? How we doing today? How we feeling? Hope everybody's having a great Friday. Hope you guys are feeling good. We're back for another solo live. Just vibing out to this Hisoka beat. If you don't mind. We're just out here having a good time. All right. That's enough of that. How are you guys doing? Welcome to another solo live. Hope you guys are having a great day. We're going to talk about seasonal anime in this episode. Usually this is some stuff that Megan would be covering, but because her work schedule got, rearranged, she's going to be having to work today and next Friday, so I'm going to be stepping in. This is usually going to be her territory going forward in the future, but there's a lot of stuff, and it's time-sensitive stuff that I wanted to talk about today, and that is the Winter Anime 2022 releases. A lot of new stuff came out. I've been going through as many of them as I can, checking out the first episodes of a few of them, and I got some thoughts. I'm going to tell you the good, the bad, and the crazy, just like it says in the video title. We're also going to be talking a little bit about some of the series that have been ongoing since earlier, like Ranking of Kings, Demon Slayer, but we're going to keep it spoiler free. We're not going to spoil anything. There's some stuff that's been all over the internet, and if you've managed to avoid that, then we're going to reward it by not spoiling it here. But there are going to be things that we're going to be covering and talking about. So, you're safe, but be warned. We will be talking about those things later on. First of all, I just want to say, before we get started, if you're not subscribed to this channel, what are you doing? If you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? Thank you for being here. Yeah, it's great. We love it. We appreciate it. But why don't you go ahead and hit subscribe if you haven't already. And I don't know if you saw the announcement video that we put out a couple days ago, but all Volume 1s and Volume Dones going forward, starting tomorrow, will be live for our Patreon and YouTube members. So if you're not a Patreon member or a YouTube member and you want to become one, you can just go to patreon.com/volume1pod, hit join on this video, and we're going to be going live for every Volume 1 and every Volume Done for our Patreon and YouTube members. And then after, a couple days after, we're going to be releasing it to everybody for everybody to see. The first one we are going to be doing is going to be tomorrow at 1:30. So get hyped, get ready, because it's going to be crazy. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be just a way for us to hopefully get closer to you guys and talk to you guys. We're going to be dedicating a separate part of the episode towards the end to really be there with the chat. We want to make sure that when people go back and rewatch it, if they're not a Patreon member or a YouTube member, that we're not constantly referencing or referring to the chat throughout the episode, so that they still have that experience, that Volume 1 experience when they watch it back. But we're going to be dedicating a separate portion towards the end to hang out and talk to you guys. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We got a new subscriber alert. Shout out AM. What up, AM? That's a big fist bump in the air from me, AM. Thank you so much. What's the manga you're doing? Maybe we'll decide that here and now. We have a couple things that we're going back and forth on. I've been kind of pushing. I know that we don't usually get around to doing a lot of sports anime or manga. But Slam Dunk has always been something I've wanted to read and talk about, especially since it's from the mangaka of Vagabond, I believe. So, that's a possibility. There's a couple other things that we got floating around that people have been suggesting in our Discord, some things that we might get to. So, not to give it away yet, but, maybe we'll come to, maybe we'll realize together. Maybe we'll all figure out together what the Volume 1 Live is going to be for tomorrow. Yeah, so just thank you guys for your support on that announcement video too, by the way. It was a lot of stuff. It's been a lot of stuff behind the scenes too, going on, just trying to figure everything out, trying to figure out as much, as we can, and the best possible way to do things moving forward. Because, like I said in the announcement video, there are 3 of us, so we're gonna try to do a lot more. And speaking of doing a lot more, I am 99.9% sure that, like in that announcement video, Cody will be going live on Twitch tonight. He usually goes live around like 9 or 10 to stream some games. So you could check that out over on Twitch, and there's links to our Twitch in the description down below, which is the account he will be streaming from. I also, new background. We're switching some things up. I put our podcast table on wheels the other day. I'm wheel crazy right now. I'm about to put everything on wheels. I'm about to put myself on wheels. I'm about to just roller skate around everywhere. I do want to make a video too, maybe in a future live or something. I do think it'd be kind of fun to show you guys kind of everything that we have here and kind of show you our setup and sort of how we move things around and, what kind of stuff we use. I don't know how interesting that would be to you guys, but if it's something that you'd be interested in, then let us know. And I'd love to film a little behind the scenes video and let you know sort of what's going on, just out of frame. But I also want to say too that we apparently, and this is spoiler free, no spoiler, but we are also of course streaming Attack on Titan and doing reactions to every episode of this final season, part 2 of the final season. And boy, oh boy, did we miss something important. Apparently there was a very important scene with Levi, and I don't know how we missed it, but we missed it. Me and Megan both separately watched the anime. I watched it on my own. She watched it on her own, and it's a scene that we both, I don't know how, but we both completely missed it. I'm sure, I remember vividly where I was when I was watching it and how I felt watching it. And don't know how we missed that. I don't know how we both missed that. How 2 people missed that. Cody, being a manga reader only, didn't really know if it was something that had been in the anime at that point or not. So couldn't really speak to that. But damn, I don't know if it's because Attack on Titan does that post-credit shit sometimes, you know what I mean? Attack on Titan, sometimes you have to wait till after the credits. And that's the thing, you never know which episode you're going to have to wait till the after credits for. You never know if it's going to be every episode, every other episode. I guess you got to just like hang out just in case, or fast forward just in case, but it's like, damn, let me know, So that was kind of a little embarrassing, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Did you get your new mic you wanted? That's coming from Christy. Christy, we still have the same mics, but I was, hoping to get a new mic arm for that mic. And yes, this is it that you're seeing right now. This is that new mic arm. So, we did get that new mic arm. Thank you so much. And, the One Piece episode came out yesterday too. The first one, without Cody. And I know a lot of people most people, I feel like, were extremely understanding of the situation. Of course, a lot of people were bummed out. Of course, a lot of people were, wanting him to, maybe just be there. But also, there were a lot of people that, really felt strongly that if he would have just, stuck with it, that it would have been something that he would have eventually come around to. And I've known that man for many years. And, I just, unfortunately, and not even unfortunately, some things are for some people and some things aren't for some people. And that's just kind of how it works. And, it was taking a toll. It was taking a toll on all of us, if we're being 100% honest here. And so I think, like I said in the announcement video, just for his mental health, and so that he could have fun doing what he's doing, and so that he could enjoy, putting his time and effort into making something for this channel that he enjoys making, that he enjoys reading or watching or talking about. I feel like that's just a better use of his time. And I think that, we all feel that it's just a better use of his time. And so I want to thank everybody too, from yesterday when that video premiered. It was a new dynamic. It was a new setup that we're still trying to figure out. I'm trying to, get these lenses to look as good as they can, and everything to look as the video quality to look as good as it can. But thank you guys so much for, watching and, showing up and your support. There was, I think, really only one comment that we read that where someone said, yeah, I don't like this. Straight up, like, I don't like this. There were a lot of comments that said, they were bummed and that they wanted Cody to be there and that they wanted and wished he would have or could have stuck with it. But most people, overwhelming support. And I got to say, for me personally, I had a great time recording that episode. I had a great time reading that portion of One Piece, those chapters. And, I just felt like it was a really great energy. And it was a fun dynamic. And Cody, I saw people asking in the comments too, or in the announcement comments or in the One Piece comments, Cody's gonna still have that same critical mind that he has in other episodes. There will be volume ones or even maybe parts of Bleach when we do our Bleach volume done review that we've announced that we're going to be doing as well. I'm sure there are going to be many parts and many other series where he's going to have, some hot takes. So, it's just on this one series because of how also long this thing is. What a horrible thing to have to, put someone through that. Someone says it keeps buffering. Let me know in the comments in the chat if you guys are experiencing any buffering issues as well. Is it me or is the connection bad? It keeps buffering. Yeah, let me know in the chat. Let's see. I miss Moody Boy on the One Piece episodes, but best to not put him through something he doesn't like. Found y'all through your One Piece video and have been going through your channel ever since. Well, shout out Auto Mouseketeer. No buffer at all. Thank you, Mustafa. Lloyd, you got a bad connection, boy. You need to call your internet provider. You need to call your internet provider because your connection is shot. Just wanted to update you guys on that stuff in the beginning. So there's going to be one more One Piece episode next week, and then we're going to be going into, then it's going to be the Berserk Live, and then we're going to be going into Bleach. There was another, sorry, just to catch everybody up, I feel like everybody, who's here, we will get to the seasonal anime very, very, very soon. But just one or two more things I wanted to catch you guys up on. We had another Discord member of our community, YouTube member, Mr. Stealing Your Waifu, who also, asked us to continue to post on our community page what we're going to be reading and stuff. So, while we're going to be posting about when we are going live and what episodes are going to be coming out, we also are going to get back on to posting the things and chapters and volumes that we're going to be reading, hopefully a week before we read them and cover them. So if there's anybody who wants to read along with us and catch up to where we're at, then you'll have that as a resource. But oh my God, it's the first donation. It's the first donation of the stream. And that really gets my blood flowing, okay? And just so you know, all donations are split up between the entire Volume 1 family. That's across all solo streams. So just don't think that it's all going to me. It's going to Megan. It's going to Cody. So Yashar, we appreciate you, Yashar. Yashar says, imagine carrying a baby for 9 whole months. Just to name it Josh. LOL, JK. It was a lot of setup. I kind of really kind of gassed you up and gassed the whole donation thing up, and then you made me read that. Imagine carrying a baby for 9 whole months and naming it Yashar. How about that? Just kidding. I like the name Yashar. I actually knew a guy named Yashar, and he was a little weird. I'm gonna be honest. He was a little weird, but he was a nice guy. He was a pure soul, and he was a very funny guy. But he was also a little weird. But the weirdest people tend to be the funniest people. Yashar, we love you. Lou Luna, Volume 1 podcast, Super Sage. You released Berserk done, and I haven't catched up yet. Millennium Falcon is going to take a long time before I see your vid hyped though. Sick. Yeah. You have to catch up as soon as possible. And I'm just going to say it here. I'm gonna say it here because we've been teasing it a lot, and I know a lot of people. We were also just trying to figure our schedule out. So I think a lot of people were also wondering about this Berserk live, and you have a couple extra weeks, Luna, to catch up. So maybe cram it, or go back and watch the live after you catch up. But so I want to kind of reveal some stuff that we have planned. I'm not going to reveal everything that we have planned, but one thing I can say for sure on my end, and it's not entirely the reason why we've been pushing it, but it's also because, again, we were really trying to go into 2022. What a perfect time to really look at sort of where you're at, assess, and see what you can do going forward. So we wanted to figure out sort of like our new structure going into 2022. So that is also a reason why it was delayed a little bit. But things we have planned for that Berserk Live, I'm just going to say one thing right now that I am working on. I posted a picture on my Instagram story a couple weeks ago, and it was just a bunch of, pictures or cutouts of paper, different random shapes of paper. And, I had a caption on there that was asking people to guess. No one guessed. No one even got close to guessing what it is. But I don't know how many of you are familiar with the Griffith helmet, the Femto helmet that I made. You can see it in one of our thumbnails. You can see it. I've pulled it. I use every excuse to pull it out. But for the Berserk Live, I am in the process and working really hard to make a Berserker armor helmet. I am not even halfway through yet, so it's going to take that extra time to really hunker down and get it done. But hopefully by the time the live comes around, there will be a replica Berserker armor helmet that we'll be able to show off, that we'll be able to wear. And that's not the only cosplay you're going to be getting either, but I'm not going to reveal that now. It's one tease. Okay, you get one. Okay, so let's start going through some of this. I don't know how many of you guys are caught up, how many of you guys are watching what's coming out seasonally. Like I said, usually this is Megan's territory, but I've been on a binge spree, okay? I've been on an anime binge spree. I've also just been on a binge spree in general, dude. I've been watching everything. I've been watching that new Dexter. I've been watching Boba Fett. I watched that new Scream movie, but I also been watching a lot of anime, and I've been catching up on everything that has been released recently, and there's a lot of cool titles that have, I think, some potential. There was one that I actually wanted to watch before this live, so it's why, it's a little late, but I made sure because it was recommended to us, I think, by someone in our comment section or in our Discord, and I kind of, not was avoiding it, but I checked it out, saw the art for it, was intrigued by the art, read the synopsis, and was not super intrigued by the synopsis. So I said, I'll get to it later. And then I never got to it. But then I thought, you know what? Before I do this live, I better check it out. And I did, and I really liked what I saw. So I'll tell you all about it in just a few minutes. Josh, in regards to your volume done on Bleach, how much of Bleach did you watch, read? What is uncharted territory for you, if there is any? I pretty much read everything. I watched the anime past the Soul Society arc, and then from that point on, the anime wasn't out yet, and I had caught up to where the anime was, and then just started reading. I read a long time ago, so there are things that are kind of fuzzy to me, very fuzzy, especially towards the end. But and then I went back and read that one shot recently, which was amazing, phenomenal, loved it, loved everything it set up, loved everything that it did. And it's so funny that I saw Scream recently, because it is a little bit of a requel, which is something that they talk about in Stream, which is a little bit of like a reboot and a sequel. You're introducing new characters, but you're also showing those legacy characters as well. It's so funny too, because in that Scream movie, that concept of requels and which is like a reboot sequel, how it just does seem like it's also bleeding into every form of media. Like, I mean, that's kind of, I feel like, what Boruto is, and that might be if or when this new arc of Bleach continues forward. I think that's what it's going to kind of be too, because it's going to be focusing around, you know, a newer character, or it seems that way. Okay, let's get to the seasonal anime. Is there a schedule for when the live stream for Volume 1s and Volume 2s are going up on Patreon? Yes. You can check that announcement video. If it's not in there, then just for our Patreon and YouTube members, we're going to be going live every Volume done, every Volume 1, 1:30 p.m. PST, and that's going to be every Tuesday and Saturday. So tomorrow is the first one, and then Tuesday is the next one, and then that's just going to be the cycle. Let's see. Okay, so let's go through this a little bit, and then we'll get back to the chat. I feel like I've stalled for a little too long already. I'll get to there's some interesting questions, some interesting stuff I see in the chat, so we're gonna get to that. And if you want to talk, I see someone else mentioning Scream. If you want to save a section, if you guys are interested at the very end of the live to talk about some of these things that necessarily aren't anime or manga related, like Boba Fett, like Dexter, like Scream, like just things that aren't necessarily anime or manga related, we could talk about those at the very, very, very end. But we have to deliver on that thumbnail, and we have to deliver on that title. And I am genuinely excited to talk to you guys about some of these series that I have recently been consuming. So let's go through right here. Let's go through the list, the My Anime list. Let's go through what is released coming out this season. Of course, you got Attack on Titan, right? Which we're going to be doing we're going to be doing episode reactions to every episode. We're going to do it comes out for us, I think, Sunday, and so we're going to watch it as soon as it is available to us and then try to get those up same day. So hopefully we'll get them up around 4 or 5. Obviously, banger. So far, the way it opened up, part 2, banger. I'm going to save a lot of that discussion for those episodes so we don't repeat ourselves too much. I see a lot of My Dress Up Darling, and then we're going to get to Demon Slayer. Don't think we're not going to get to Demon Slayer, but I see a lot of My Dress Up Darling in the chat. And let me just tell you, if there's anybody out there that is skeptical about this show, if there's anybody out there that's like, oh, this doesn't seem like my cup of tea, it's your cup of tea. Okay, this is a beautiful, beautiful series about a guy who is, you know, he makes, I think they're called Hina dolls with him and his grandfather. And, you know, he's obviously very insecure. He doesn't believe that his interests are necessarily the same interests that a lot of kids in his school have. He feels obviously very alienated or just sort of weird, and meets another character, a fellow student who is, number 1, beautiful, okay, and number 2, a cosplayer. So, you know, when it comes to especially Megan, this anime was made for her, okay? This anime was made for her. Oh my God, Monokuma, why do you do this to us? Oh my God, Monokuma. Shout out Monokuma. Everybody, you know what? We got to give a big round of applause for Monokuma. $50 donation. Monokuma says, can you please help stop Megan with her cannibalistic ways? Love you guys. You know, it's so funny that you say that, dude, because it's just like everything we do, it doesn't stick. You know, I mean, we've tried, I don't know if you guys have seen like Santa Clarita Diet, but we've tried, you know, getting her sort of like raw meat from the grocery store, like raw kind of ground beef. And we've kind of tried to see if that would work. And she said doesn't taste the same. And we even tried like, you know, animals and stuff, some animals, you know, and she said it's not the same. She said it's not the same as human flesh. That's what her words, not mine. But we're going to keep trying. So yeah, My Dress Up Darling, so freaking good. And again, you know, the first episode doesn't dive too deep into the cosplay aspect of the series, at least what I think is going to be based, especially on the OP. But, you know, it really focuses on this main character and sort of his insecurities with things that he loves. And it's super obviously relatable to have these hobbies, to have these passions that you feel like, especially in high school, a lot of other people, if not most people, don't have. I love the way it kind of plays with things too. Like there's a scene where, you know, you've seen that scene in other anime before where this loner type character will be on his way to school, and then another character will come up behind him and kind of grab him from behind in a playful way. And you know, he'll be the friend character who's like, you know, hyping this guy up. So they kind of do a version of that in My Dress Up Darling, and then the twist being that the guy grabbed the wrong guy. He's like, oh, sorry, I thought you were somebody else. I don't know you. Sorry. And then it kind of just keeps going. So you really do get this like sense of loneliness, and you really do feel it from this guy a lot. Not to mention the animation is beautiful. The animation is incredible. I believe it's Cloverworks that's doing this series. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure I saw that in the OP. It should be here too. Yeah, Cloverworks Studios is doing it, and they have another anime that came out this season as well about a girl and a sailor uniform that is also phenomenal. I don't know if you guys know my relationship with Cloverworks Studio, but me and Cloverworks Studio have a complicated relationship, because they did absolutely massacre one of my all-time favorite manga series, The Promised Neverland. They really did just pull down their pants and just take a steaming hot dump on Emma, on Norman, on Ray, on everybody, on all the kids. They really, and that's the thing. That's the controversial thing about Cloverworks is that they shit on orphans over there at Cloverworks, and I'm just gonna say it. And I feel like a lot of other people are afraid to say it, but it's just disrespectful. So me and Cloverworks, we have a touch and go kind of relationship, but they're going to be also half of the studio that's going to be doing Spy Family. So they got me back a little bit right there. And then with My Dress Up Darling, and then with this other series that we're going to be talking about a little bit later, they're kind of winning me back. And I don't know if I have, I don't know if it's called battered wife syndrome. I don't know if I have that or not, but they're putting in work over there. They're putting in work. It's forbidden to mention it. Yeah. I would be fine if, if we just all collectively as a community decided to just like none of us even ever, we agree here now to never speak of it, because it was such an atrocity even talking about it right now, I'm getting a little heated. But My Dress Up Darling, let's get back to it. So phenomenal, so beautiful, so not just sweet, not just cute, but it's what I like to call tasteful ecchi. What I like to call it's got a little etchiness to it, but it's tasteful. Okay, there's only a couple moments, and it's not really a major aspect of the show. Not like other series. I tried to watch. I forget what it's called, but it's a show about a female magician and a high school girl who wants to be a magician but's bad at doing magic tricks because Josh Magic Michaels, duh. That's if My Dress Up Darling is an anime that was made for Megan, then this should have been an anime that was made for me. But the etchiness, man, it was like every 2 seconds, and it was just the most absurd. It was the most absurd etchiness I've ever seen in my life, dude. It was just like. And that's the thing, like you know what people are doing when they're watching this. I mean, what are people doing? Yeah, that they're beaten off. I'm just gonna say it. That they're beaten off. I'm just gonna say it. And just like people say like, oh yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. Maybe you can watch something knowing that and it not affect you, but. I just, I'm sort of like cumnipotent, which is like omnipotent, but with cum, and I'm just I'm cumnipotent, and I'm out there and I'm just really seeing everybody, just sort of, climaxing at the same time. And I don't really want to be there. So My Dress Up Darling, if you haven't seen it, check it out. Beautiful, beautiful series. Highly, highly recommend. Now let's just talk about Demon Slayer. Let's save Demon Slayer for the last, because that's something that's been out for a while. Season 2's been out for a while too now, and yeah. There are going to be a few series. Like I said, I tried to watch as many as I could. I think I watched maybe about 6, so I haven't really seen every single one. And also, I'm just basing it off of my personal preference, so I'm kind of going through the synopsis, kind of looking at some of the images and seeing if it's something that I think is even, worth necessarily my time. Personally for me, I do want to talk about, and I'm going to butcher the name of this, but it's Sabikui Bisco. I don't know. It is, let's read this synopsis here because, after watching the first episode, it's a little hard to exactly figure out what it's about. But if you look at the official synopsis here, a plague like wind blows across the arid, sandy expanse of a post-apocalyptic Japan as it sweeps over the living and non-living alike. Rust is all that remains in its wake. The cause of the catastrophic state of the world is believed to be mushroom spores. So we'll leave it right there. I thought, that is not Orient. Orient is a different series. Believe me, I got confused too. But yeah, this is actually a really cool series. Based on the first episode, I really love the animation. I really love the art style. I really love the character design. I really love the characters themselves. I thought the characters were really well written, and I thought I was able to connect with them all very easily. I still don't really know much about the main character, his intentions, sort of, is he a good guy? Is he is he lawful good, lawful evil, neutral good? I mean, we see him kind of do questionable things, or at least it's, shown by the media of the world that these things that they're doing are questionable things. But it does seem like he's sort of misunderstood, or people aren't really telling the public the whole truth about what's going on. I thought that the world was really cool, post-apocalyptic. There's a main character who's a doctor. They call him Dr. Panda, is like his nickname, because he's a younger kid with it looks like a black eye, but I think he always has it. That's why he looks more like a panda. He's taking care of his sick sister, which you find more about who she is, and sort of how she's not just like a sick younger sister. She's actually, I don't even know if it's a spoiler. I'm just not going to say it, but I do want there to be things that are still a surprise if you haven't seen this already. But I thought it was really, really funny when it was wanting to be funny. There were some moments, and again, like, I was a huge fan of, like, not that it's a funny series necessarily, but just some of the moments that allow you to really understand this character and the situation that he's in, and how he really is a kind doctor character. I thought was really, really well done. On top of, like I said, the art style, the world, really beautiful. Every time I see mushrooms, I can't help but think about Dorohedoro. So obviously that's going on in the back of my head a little bit too as I'm watching it. I'm seeing like these giant mushroom spores and clouds, being spawned and sprouting, and I can't help but think of Dorohedoro, but it's nothing like Dorohedoro at all, other than that, I guess. It's really, really good, and if you like post-apocalyptic series, especially with this sort of mysterious, sort of possibly, magical element, fantasy element. At least from the first episode, I think it's worth checking out to see if you like or don't like. But I actually had a really good time watching the first episode and was intrigued throughout, because, judging from, you'll see here, this cover, this main character with red hair, who's I'm assuming to be the main character, you don't even really get to see a lot of him in the first episode. He is sort of teased throughout. And so you get to understand how the world views this person before you get to meet this person, which I think is a very interesting plot device, because your opinion of this person might be affected by maybe it's the writer's intention for you to feel the same way about this character when you meet him that the characters in this world feel about him when they meet him. If we would have gotten to know him, first and then seen how the world portrayed him, maybe we would care about him more or feel differently about him. But I like that, we are being fed the same information for the most part that the people of this world are being fed. So our opinion of him is a little different too. And so I love when a series kind of plays with that. If that goes on to be the main character, how that is affected and how that affects, the audience's feelings towards him. I really had a good time with this. So that is that. And let's just talk about this next one right here. So this one in English is called Love of Kill. All right. Love of Kill. Yeah, and the previous one was, again, I'm going to butcher it, Sabikui Bisco. But Love is Kill is okay. Well, let me just say this. Sometimes you get through a series and you want to give it a fair shot. And you keep sitting there and it keeps doing stuff and you're like, maybe it'll get better. Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe I'm being overcritical. Maybe this, maybe that. But it was a struggle to sit through this first episode, and not because it's bad. That's the crazy thing. Not because it's necessarily like a horrible series. And I, even am not the biggest fan of using this word, but it's just the most mid thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It does feel like I don't know. It's also weird to, when you're reading things like Spy Family and then, an anime gets announced for that. And there've been a couple other, series recently. I think there was like Millionaire Detective that felt like, it could have been happening in a similar universe that Spy Family takes place in. But then you see something like this and you think like, you can't help but think like, because it does take so long to animate series, it's probably not the case, but you can't help but think like, damn, like, there's another series that feels like it's cashing in on this spy thing and trying to make it fun and trying to make it cute and trying to make it all these things. But it felt so mid. It felt so just like, I don't know. In the grand scheme of things, it just felt really like pointless. I mean, the main character is another classically aggressive sort of like date me, go on a date with me guy. It's like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but I don't know, a little on the more, I guess, not the best look. It's because this guy, he's so persistent, and he's like grabbing this girl by the arm, and he's just like, well, and he like go on a date with me, and she tries to tase him, and then he wraps her arm around her back, and he's like, now you have to go on a date with me, and then it shows him like clenching her wrist, but he's also portrayed to be like, he's not supposed to necessarily be a bad guy. I mean, he's just supposed to be a guy. I don't know. Maybe it's a series that people watching this will enjoy, but for me personally, it's not even that it was problematic necessarily. I mean, that's a part of it. It just felt like a little like unnecessary, but the characters didn't really give me anything, and the world didn't really give me anything. And so I think, and I have forgot that I have some sound effects queued up here. So I think that when it comes to Love of Kill, you can skip it. You can skip it. Love of Kill, super mid to me. Let's see. Let's keep going through here. We got let's see, because there was one that was really good. Okay, here. So I don't know who it is. Maybe this person is watching right now. Maybe they'll be watching later. But Requiem of the Rose King, which is this one here. It looks like you got a little CL on the cover. Requiem of what's it called again? Requiem of the Rose King. What a long name. Shorten the name. Call it Requiem Rose. This was a series that, based on the synopsis, at least the original synopsis that I read, I wasn't intrigued. I went back and gave it a shot, and I was really surprised by this series. It still can go either way for me, but it really was not what I was expecting it to be. This is like a little bit of Ranking of Kings, okay, meets like a Prince Freya, which I don't know if people watching are super familiar with Prince Freya, but it is a series that we have a review on our channel, and it's actually not pretty good. It's a really good series. And Requiem of the Rose King feels like, at least in art style and in sort of like aesthetic, Prince Freya, but then it does have those fantasy aspects that do seem similar to Ranking of Kings, like in the best way, with its own sort of twist and spin on it as well. Fantasy, magic, but really, really well done. Like, the main character has a secret that is revealed. I would have liked it to maybe be revealed a little earlier, but it is revealed, early-ish in the episode. and then it kind of carries over, and you meet more characters, and you feel, you're told you're supposed to feel a certain way about a character, and then they have an interaction with them, and then your perception of them is sort of flipped, and now you know them to be not what other people are saying they are, and it's a little of the Game of Thrones sort of like political, I would say, like aspects of it, but it's also just like it's got a lot more fantasy in it as well, and I really was surprised by it. It's also just I call it similar to Ranking of Kings because there's literally also a magic mirror in it as well of similar size and shape. I know it's a common fantasy thing, but I mean just the timing of it, it's just like kind of crazy, and yeah, it's really good. It's really good, and it's no Ranking of Kings, okay? If you're still out here and you haven't seen Ranking of Kings, what are you doing? You gotta watch Ranking of Kings. It's so good. Every Thursday, Ranking Thursday. That's what I say. I wake up every morning. I get out of bed. My alarm goes off and I go, Ranking Thursday. Every Thursday. If you're not catching up or caught up on Ranking of Kings, get on that. But if for whatever reason Ranking of Kings does feel maybe too cute for you, and it maybe does feel like it's not, maybe you're not just like vibing with the art style, which again, don't be fooled by the art style. But if you're not vibing with it and you gave it a fair shot, I mean, maybe check out Requiem of the Rose King, because it might be a little bit more your speed. Let's see. I'm going to get to the chat for a little bit before we continue to go through this. We got, I think it's Michael saying, Josh, do you think you could play the trailers to these so we have a sneak peek? Sure. Yeah, we'll see. I'll play a little bit of it just so it doesn't get flagged. But let's go through and let's see. I mean, My Dress Up Darling for sure. If you guys haven't seen that, then you are missing out. So the trailer is beautiful too, and obviously, we're not going to be able to play it, I don't think, with sound either. But you can get a little preview. We got someone else saying, I'm busy catching up. Don't judge me. Never. There's so much stuff to get to. Brittany says, Game of Thrones was inspired by the Wars of the Roses, and this is depicting it. So, never read the Shakespeare play that it's based off, though. Oh, yeah. It's based off, they do mention that it's based off of Shakespeare, and my experience with Shakespeare is I love Romeo plus Juliet. Okay, Leonardo DiCaprio, John Leguizamo. Okay, that's my. I'm not a thespian, but Romeo plus Juliet. Now that's a movie. That's a good Shakespeare adaptation right there. Controversial opinion. So okay, this is gonna be a quick little clip of My Dress Up Darling. If you guys haven't seen it. Let me just kind of arrange this so that everybody can see it a little bit better. And again, we're not going to be able to play too much of it because I don't want this video to get flagged, even though it probably already is going to get flagged. But who cares? Who cares? Let's see. We're not going to let the man bring us down. So this is a little bit of the footage that you'll see from My Dress Up Darling. Again, these are these Hina dolls that the main character makes, and he's really good at basically making their clothes, and not as good as like painting the faces, not as good as his grandfather is. And then he meets a character later on, this blonde-haired character, and we haven't met this girl yet, but just look at the animation, marvel at it, the characters, beautiful, highly recommend. And then let me show you a little bit of I'm not going to show you, what is it called? Love of Kill or whatever. Let me show you a little bit of this, this Sabikui Bisco, because it's, pretty good. But again, it's so hard to judge something off of a first episode because it really could go either way. I feel like you get so much more out of a full volume than you do out of or a first volume than you do out of a first episode. But yeah, so this is, and again, I'm butchering it, Sabikui Bisco. A lot of the stuff you don't see in the first episode, this is just the trailer, but it looks I'm interested. I'm probably gonna keep checking it out. Probably gonna keep up to date with it. But yeah, looks pretty sick. And then let's go over here and let's finally show you, because this is the one that I'm excited to show you, Requiem of the Rose King. Let's go. So again, apparently, yeah, I think, who was it in the chat? Someone in the chat was saying that Game of Thrones was kind of inspired by War of the Roses, and this is also sort of inspired by that too. So, you can kind of go through, and I don't know how interesting maybe the trailer, and maybe that's another reason why I really didn't know what to expect from it, because it does look like it's going to be, like, it looks from the trailer like it is slower paced and like it is more dramatic, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But it's just not something that I thought I was going to be necessarily in the mood for at that time. But it really delivered. That's like a Apis character right there. If you guys are ranking a Kings fans right there, it's like a Apis. And I do feel like it is a lot of, it's got some elements of ranking of Kings in it as well. You need to show the kiss in the trailer. Reminds me of a Decadence a lot, actually. Requiem of the Snooze King. Strong. Come on, dude. Requiem of the Snooze King. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. I can't hate too much, because that's what I thought. I thought, you know what? Yeah, this is just gonna be a slow burn. This is gonna be something that, is gonna take 20 episodes to intrigue me. But I was intrigued. Requiem of the lit. Requiem of the pretty lit. How about that? Yeah. So let's keep going through this list a little bit. We also have here, oh man, I gotta adjust this again. There was another one. I kind of want to get to that sailor one. I kind of want to show you guys that sailor one. I had a lot of fun with that one. Where is it? Oh, there's another one I forgot that I watched too. That was actually, again, I'm a little on the fence about it, but I'm really interested to see how you guys feel about it. So let's get to this one right now. So this one is called Life with an Ordinary Guy Who Reincarnated into I think it's Total Hottie or Total Fantasy Knockout. Yeah. So this series is, I mean, I don't know if you guys know anything. I don't know if you guys know anything about this series, but it's pretty funny, and it's pretty interesting, and it's pretty different. Let me pull up a little bit of this for you guys to see. It's about two guys who are best friends, that one of them is, pretty much dealing with the fact that, someone said goddamn long titles. One of the guys is dealing with the fact that he might be gay. He's not 100%. I don't think he's 100% sure if he's gay or if he just really loves his best friend. Because the only reason I say that is because of sort of things that happen later. But he's really seems to be really in love, and not just like overprotective or infatuated, but he seems to be in love with his best friend. And his best friend, and he's also, this guy who's in love with his best friend is also the more dapper of the two, the one that the girls like, but maybe that is partially also because he doesn't treat them, I think, the same way that they feel like they're treated by other guys. He also really doesn't care about their attention or anything. And his best friend is like desperately trying to find someone to be in a relationship with. And I'm not going to say who that reminds me of at all. But I let's just say someone comes to mind. And maybe someone comes to mind for the other guy too. Let's just be real. So basically what ends up happening is that they get not only isekai, but the guy who's desperate to be in a relationship gets isekai with his best friend and turned into a magical girl. with blonde hair and the outfit and super cute, but obviously has the same personality and is the same consciousness in this new body. And he starts to feel a certain way about his friend, and his friend starts to feel some type of way about him. And what's kind of crazy about it too, and what I kind of really like about it, no Monokuma, not Cody. What I kind of like about it is that there is a love is war sort of aspect to it, or it is like we talked about in a previous episode that we did, like that psychological warfare, that mental gymnastic between like, well, I can't confess this, I can't do this because it'll look like this. But it's with these two guy characters that are isekai, and one of them's been turned into like a magical girl. And so it's comedy, it's isekai, it's fantasy, obviously. It's like Freaky Friday, but also kind of love is war. And it's really, really, really good from the first episode. It also feels like it's teetering a little bit because it is just about like, it had a pretty decent opening, and it is just going to be a matter of like how they choose to continue with their execution of this concept, because the concept and the setup I'm pretty on board for, but we'll just see kind of how it pans out. Someone said the manga for that is hilarious. I think you'll like it. Because we did say that we might decide, what the next volume 1 live will be. And that's a contender right there. So it became a man-woman pairing. Lame. That's the only thing about it is, he's in love with his friend because of who his friend is, and because he's been there, for him his whole life. But they don't really address in the first episode, because it's very explicitly stated in the beginning that this person is not interested in women at all, and really doesn't give women the time of day, because he even says he's way more interested in men. So that was the only thing that was like, obviously I'm a straight guy, so how much do I know? But that was the only thing that was like a little odd, is that like, oh, now that his, best friend is in a woman's body, now he's like even more attracted to her, when it was kind of alluded to or almost explicitly said that he's a gay man that is just attracted to men. And again, he's, I think more than anything, attracted to his friend. But I'm just interested to see how they sort of play with that concept. Again, I'm a straight guy. I don't know what I'm talking about. But that was just something that I knew. Let's see. I would much rather, just because, if they are going to explore that, I would much rather him, be attracted to his friend as a man, and not have to be like, if he is, if he does identify as a gay man, then be attracted to his friend as a man. But to say like, oh yeah, I'm a gay man, but then my friend turns into a hot girl, and I'm kind of even more into him now. I mean, I don't know. I'm just just a tiny nitpick. I had a good time. I thought it was fun. I'm really interested. I'm gonna keep watching, and I might even keep reading or start reading after someone says that it's pretty funny in the manga too, because the anime, the first episode was really funny as well. So let me just show you a little bit of that. Let's see if we can just copy paste this long ass title in here, because it is another long ass title. Life with an ordinary guy who reincarnated into a tonal fantasy knockout. Okay. Let's load this up. So you guys, and the animation is really good too. The animation is really good, and it's really, really funny, as well. So let's pull up a little bit of that so people can see this. Again, I should have two separate windows open, one for YouTube and one for my anime list, but what are you gonna do? And this guy looks like Ace Attorney. He has like an Ace Attorney kind of hairstyle, which, love it. His friend kind of turns into I'm not saying, maybe just because of the blonde hair, but how I feel about Darkness when it comes to Konosuba. She's like Megumin and Darkness if they were combined, and that's a little bit of it right there. And so it's really funny. I think it's really unique. And especially in terms of like comedy, especially in terms of like isekai. I mean, I loved Konosuba. I thought Konosuba was hilarious, and I've been itching for another comedy isekai with an interesting concept, and this does seem to be it. Let's see. Someone said, I believe the nin girl is pansexual, where he is more into personalities rather than gender. And see, that makes sense. And again, I at the end of the day, I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I do also get that sense that he's attracted to his friend's personality, more than he is anybody's gender. Yeah. I've never been an isekai guy. And the sharp teeth. Someone said the sharp teeth are kind of winning me over. Yes, dude. I'm a sucker for a character with sharp teeth. A sucker for a character with sharp teeth. But yeah, hopefully Konosuba season 3 announcement soon. Yes, which is also crazy because they recently announced. I'm gonna see if I can pull this up. I don't know how many. I know we got maybe some gamers in the chat, but I don't know how many tabletop gamers we got in the chat. But they just announced that there is going to be an official release date for the Konosuba tabletop RPG. This is coming out through Yen Press. It's already available for pre-order on Amazon. And it's, let's see if I can pull it up on Amazon too, because you can actually see what it's going to look like. I don't want you guys to see all the stuff that's in my cart, dude. I've been buying all kinds of stuff. Normal stuff, not anything crazy. But yeah, dude, it looks so sick. It looks so cool. I don't think this is going to give anything away. Let's see here. Yeah, the Konosuba RPG. Let's freaking go. I've already been talking to Megan and Cody, and I've been asking them if they're down to play. I will DM a game like that in a heartbeat. We can record it. We can do it live. We can, I don't know, pre-record it and put maybe animate some graphics to it or something and have our own Konosuba Volume 1 Konosuba adventure. That sounds pretty freaking crazy to me. And I'd be super down. Good. I don't care about Konosuba, but any sort of tabletop stuff from Japan getting transferred is awesome. Yeah, I mean, and that's also cool too. That it is just an anime tabletop D&D style game. That's awesome. Manga recommended The Eminence of the Shadow. The anime is coming out this year. Isekai comedy Konosuba Fix. It's so good. I love how cringe the main character is, and and he embraces the cringe. That's from Lloyd Forger, Discord mod. It's a series that I'm very well aware of. I used to have an old manager, an old boss who was obsessed with that manga specifically and was always trying to get me to read it, and I never made time to read it, but now seems like the time. Coach 8766, how dare you? I guess, because he says Cody is Aqua. And I guess, if we have to get technical, I mean, Cody would be more Kazuma, I think, if anything. But if he had to be one of the girls, because, I mean, you gotta say, yeah, you gotta say by default, and not even by default, but, I mean, because I guess Megan would be Megumin, right? And of course, I gotta be Darkness. And so I guess that does leave Cody as Aqua, but I would say Cody's more of a Kazuma than anything. But let's get back to this really quick. So yeah, check out Life with an Ordinary Guy Who Reincarnated into a Total Fantasy Knockout. It's a pretty cool series. And I'm interested. I'm hooked. I'm interested to see where it goes. All right, let me fix this screen again. I'm gonna have 2 screens in the future, so we don't have to keep doing this. I just always forget to do it. Okay, that one was really fun. And also, let me know if you guys have seen any of these things, any of these series, and if you watched anything that I haven't watched that I should watch, let me know too, because I also watched Platinum End, which didn't come out this season, or at least winter of this season, 2022, but. It was from the creator of Death Note, Platinum End. I mean, it looks like an angel instead of a demon, instead of a Ryuk character. You got an angel character. You got another kind of sort of light-ish character. A lot of rules, a lot of similar sort of what felt like, structure. And I watched like 6 episodes, maybe 7 episodes, and was kind of disappointed. It's hard to platinum mid is really, unfortunately, I don't want it to be platinum mid. But it just felt that way. Thank you so much, Monokuma. Monokuma said, Josh, if you're darkness, then I'm the cabbage that hits you. Let's go, dude. Yes. And every time you hit me, I'll go like that. I'll go like, oh. Every time you hit me, if you're a cabbage and you hit me, I'll go like, oh. Thank you, Monokuma. Thank you. Someone said it's a banger, and that's coming from a YouTube member. So, I gotta hear him out. So, Quattro, if you want to explain why you feel like it's a banger. Look, I don't want to not like it, okay? I want to like it. I mean, it's from the creator of Death Note, one of the greatest series of all time. I mean, that's a series that even if you're an anime fan or not, like, that's another, like, AOT anime that you can recommend to anybody because it's just good. It's not a good anime. It's just a good series, period. So, of course, I wanted to love Platinum Man. And I watched the first episode, and I was very, very, very intrigued and very hopeful for the series. And I thought there were a couple things that I was a little iffy on. I gave it a shot. I was like, you know what? They'll probably explain that, or I'll get past that, or I can, wait to hear if this thing is explained. And as it went on and on and on, I kept giving it sort of, to me, again, personally, it's my opinion, but I kept giving it what felt like to me chance after chance after chance after chance. And it got to a point where I just didn't understand what I was even watching anymore. Not because it was overly complicated or convoluted, even though, some things at times felt that way. But what I even love about that within Death Note is that there are all these rules that are set so that you understand the rules and are shocked or understand when they're broken and understand how they can be broken. And so I understand that even in Death Note, there's a lot of rules that need to be set up and established so that when Light does do these crazy things later, you understand how crazy they actually are or why they're so crazy. And Platinum Man kind of had that too. It didn't seem as necessarily interesting, but again, I was giving it the benefit of the doubt. I wanted to like it. And there was oh God, Lloyd Forger. We love you, man. R.I.P. He said, God, controversial opinion, but I really didn't like Death Note. Yikes, dude. I don't know how to help you. You just turned the whole chat against you, dude, with one sentence. Platinum and the same artist is a different same artist of Death Note, so it's a different writer. But even still, even if that is the case, like it felt, it did feel super similar, like crazy similar. And it just, I don't know. For me, and I'll tell you one thing, and people can tell me how they feel, in the chat about it. But, for me, it was this wasn't my only issue with it, but one of the issues that I had with it was the whole, like, these god candidates that were getting suits, these like mech suits or these like armor full body suits. It seemed, they say in universe that they're getting them because one of the guys who's a god candidate. This is minor spoilers, if anything, not really huge spoilers. This one god candidate is like an actor on this TV series that just like had access to this suit, so it makes sense then why he would have one and why he would go on to, use it. But now it would seem as if he's actually this character from this TV show, because of these abilities that he has. But then like everybody else has one. Like all these other god candidates have one. And again, that wasn't my only issue. It just didn't feel like it really fit. It seemed like a clash of like tones, and it seemed like two different shows like trying to be forced into one show. And it felt like it had such a good setup and a good premise. And I don't know. But it could just be me. Someone said this chat is lit because everybody agreed with Lloyd. Yeah. No, it's the same duo that did Death Note and Bakuman. Yeah, see, that's what I thought. But I'm always willing to admit that I could be wrong. But I'm pretty. That's what I thought was the case. Micro XD said, I kind of agree with you, Lloyd. Death Note falls off plus ratio. Look, man. I mean, yeah, dude, it's been a long time since I've seen it in its entirety, but I watched it like 3 times. I freaking read it like twice. I thought it was great the entire time. Dude, I even watched every live action movie and even read the spinoff when it came out, which had Trump in it, which was kind of weird. Or a Trump-esque character in it. Weird. But Death Note, whatever, man. You guys are haters, man. Haters. Let's keep going. Let's see what else we got here. What else? There was one more that I saw that I really. Oh yeah, it's the schoolgirl one. Then I could have sworn there was one more that we watched. Where is that school uniform one? Sometimes they be changing the picture on me too, and I don't like that. This one seemed kind of interesting to me. Miss Kuroitsu from the Monster Development Department. That seemed a little interesting to me. This seems like according to Megan, a Yuru Camp-esque series, but it also seemed a little interesting. Where is that sailor uniform? Oh, here it is. So it's called Akebi's Sailor Uniform is what it's called right here in the center. And this one, I'm going to be the first to say it's not going to be everybody's speed. It is just a very chill, laid back, cozy show. It's not super action packed. It's not, I don't know. It doesn't have like a lot necessarily going on story wise, but it is. I think, to me personally, it is a very, like I said, cozy, sweet, beautifully animated series. So let me pull up the trailer for this, and you can make your own decision. This is, again, something that I'm not going to recommend to everybody, but, it just does have, and I think I'm pretty sure, let me just double check this real quick. I'm pretty sure it is Cloverworks as well. It is. And we've already gone on our Cloverworks rant for the day, but, check it out. Maybe it's for you. Maybe it's not for you. But we're going to talk about Demon Slayer after this anyway. And we're going to keep it spoiler free. So don't worry. Let me just make this window a little larger so you guys can see it in all its glory. But here is Akebi's Sailor Uniform. Essentially, it's just about a girl who's going to this new school. And, she picks this school because she's always wanted to wear a sailor uniform, and that is the outfit, that is the uniform at this school. But I guess things have changed since the last time, her mom had gone to this school. So things are a little different, and the uniforms have kind of changed, but it's a sweet opening episode where you really... you're getting to spend time with this girl, and you're getting to see her just be a girl. And it's a show that like has a lot of innocence. It's really got this very like innocent feeling to it. It's innocent. It's cozy. It's something that is just, I think, really nice. And I'm not going to go like too crazy in depth with it, but because I don't think it is for everybody. But it is really, really good, and it's just something you can curl up to and just like maybe get a nice hot cup of tea, and you could just kind of watch. All right, so let's see. Doesn't it get really ecchi later on, or am I thinking of something else? Brittany, I hope, dude. I hope. I hope it doesn't get ecchi. I hope you're thinking of something else. I had to be careful about how that was worded, because it seemed really sweet in the first episode. If you like Sailor Akebi, I highly recommend the manga. The art is gorgeous. Again, another rec for the manga. Here I also want to, now that someone said mid-clover, only because of what they did at Promised Neverland, which I agreed to never talk about again. They are mid-clover, but they're really digging themselves out of a hole, it feels like. yeah, there are a lot of these series that I think are, not necessarily, either very plot driven or not necessarily shonen or there are just all these slice of life, but there are, again, in our video that we put out about slice of life, that's also such a broad term. As much as I'd love to do, even probably that isekai that we talked about a little bit earlier, I'd love to do a review on that manga. I really, kind of want to put some feelers out right now to you guys, the chat, everybody who's here watching right now, and ask you guys if that is something that you guys would be interested in. It just feels like whenever we do tend to cover series like that there does seem to be less of an interest from our audience, from you guys, maybe not you specifically, but I don't know, people seem a little less interested. But if you're telling us that you're interested and that you'd want to see that and it's something you'd be excited to see, then it's something that I would love doing. I know Megan would love doing, and I'm sure Cody would love doing and possibly criticizing. But he'd love to do that too. So a couple things too. Let's go through the chat real quick. We got a lot of hot takes in here. We got a lot of hot takes. Lloyd really thought he was going to get thrown to the fire, but everybody came and kind of had his back. Let's talk about Demon Slayer really quick. I'm going to be spoiler free, but I just have to talk about it for a second because I'm a demon head now, and everybody knows that about me. I'm a demon head now, and I'm also really into gibbets right now. Okay, and I don't know if you guys know what gibbets are, but gibbets are for Crocs. And I'm going to show you my Crocs that I'm rocking right now, dude. And I don't want any judgment, and I don't want any hate from the chat, okay? I'm being very vulnerable, and I'm going to show you something that I'm excited about, okay? I'm like the main character from my dress-up darling. It's my hobby, it's my passion, and just let me have it, okay? But I'm really into gibbets, which are these little things that you can put on Crocs. I'm going to show you my two Crocs because they are anime-themed Crocs, and they kind of reflect sort of like, my new identity as a gamer, too, on one of them. But this is one Croc right here that you'll see. These are my Naruto gibbets that you can see right here. We got a little Naruto. We got a little Shikamaru, which was a find. We got a Sasuke, of course, Kakashi, Itachi, Jiraiya. We got the Akatsuki, Cloud. Of course, we got to do it. This is a whole Naruto themed Croc that you got right here. That's Croc number 1. Thank you guys so much. And Croc number 2. Croc number 2. We got a little crazier Croc over here. We got, you got Inosuke, you got Rengoku, you got Tanjiro, you got the freaking Jolly freaking Roger, you got All Might, you got Gojo, you got Chopper, you got Buttercup, and I got a Freddy Fazbear gamer alert, pro gamer alert. Yeah, I think so, dude. I think so. Someone said, ooh, didn't even know gibbets was a thing. Yeah, dude, call me freaking Hayao Miyazaki, dude, because I'm running freaking Studio Gibbets over here. Okay? And they're pretty cool, dude. And a lot of malls are selling them now. And you can get them on Amazon and stuff, too. But someone's saying, you're telling me these things are explicitly to decorate Crocs? Yeah. They're made specifically for Crocs, dude. And Lloyd says, bro, you're a grown man. That's a chick repellent. Come on, bro. Go get married first. Then you can just let go. Look, man, they're not a repellent to anybody. Okay. You walk around in a jibbed out Croc. You're a jibbed out Croc head walking around in a mall. What does that scream? Number 1, confidence. Okay. Number 1, confidence. Okay. Number 2, gibbets are a little pricey. And so when I said I've been buying things on Amazon that I didn't want you guys to see, I didn't want you to judge me, is gibbets. Okay. They're a little pricey. Okay. They're a little pricey and they're like $3 a gibbet, which if you're asking me, that's a lot for one thing, but number 2, baller. Okay. You're walking around. So number 1, to refresh you, Lloyd, number 1, confidence. Number 2, baller. Okay. Number 3, bold. Okay. You're walking around being bold, living your best freaking life, okay? You're walking around in Crocs. Yeah, sure, okay, everybody has Crocs. But if you're walking out in jibbed out Crocs, you're taking it to the next level. You're accessorizing, okay? You're going in and you're like freaking Tan France from, Queer Eye, dude. You're being bold, you're being you, and we love that, okay? And so, Lloyd, first of all, I love you, and I think that you need to know that. But number two, don't be afraid to step out of your comfort zone and get crocked out. Okay, rock out with your crock out. Okay, rock out with your crock out and jib out with your, bib out. I don't know, but we're working on it. But figure it out. Lloyd seems pretty jelly of the jibs. Yeah, dude, everybody's freaking murdering me, dude. Everybody's freaking murdering me right now in the chat. But it's okay. Demon Slayer, let's just talk about it. I'm gonna keep it spoiler free. I know not everybody's caught up. I don't know how everybody feels about it. I'm a freaking demon head now. I should have worn my Tanjiro earrings. I should have worn my freaking kimono. I got a sword, a Demon Slayer sword that I'm planning on hanging up soon too. I'm a Demon Slayer guy. But I don't know if everybody's caught up, but I just want to react to this new episode because it was phenomenal, fantastic, and probably one of the best Demon Slayer episodes I have seen in a long, long, long time. I mentioned for me not being really, hooked by the first couple episodes and then getting to that one specific episode where it did hook me. And then after that, it was, history. And I was just invested at that point. That's what it took, right, for me to get there. I hadn't really, Mugen Train was fantastic. I hadn't seen an episode, though, like that one episode that hooked me until this freaking episode, dude. This season 2, the Entertainment District of Demon Slayer had a rocky start for me just because it felt like they were cashing in on a joke that lasted 2 episodes. Yes, and this is not spoilery, but it's just there are main characters, of course, Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu, who have to go undercover and have to disguise themselves as girls in this entertainment district to gather information. And it was funny and it was cute and it was cool and I was into it. But then it just kept going for like 2 episodes. And I was like, okay, well, I guess this is what this season is. And it started picking up little by little, but the last 2 episodes, oh my God, when I tell you that's some of the best Demon Slayer I've seen to this day, I am not freaking exaggerating, dude. So Coach 8766 says episode 19 versus episode 6. I might have to say episode 6, dude, because again, keeping this spoiler free, but characters freaking go hard. Characters' backstory that has been teased is slowly starting to be revealed. More is starting to be revealed and things are developing. There is a couple character moments in those 2 episodes and especially in episode 6 where you're just like, what is happening? These are characters that I thought were just always going to be this, and then they were going to get better at being that. But they shift and become almost what feels like make a decision to completely abandon these things that they, practiced before and have revealed to be secretly practicing other things. And then, someone said, maybe in animation, but not in emotions. Again, the things that they tease in the flashbacks too. And again, we're finally getting some sort of developments with people's histories, people's past, people's, relationships with other characters. And again, yes, it's all over the internet. People have seen it, but I'm still going to, dance around it as much as I possibly can. All killer, no filler, baby. That's right. That's what Kimetsu no Yaiba does, dude. All killer, no filler. Let's freaking go. Okay. And you're seeing it all over, especially if you're on TikTok or if you're on, really anywhere, even YouTube. I'm sure it's all over everywhere. But I'm going to try to dance around it still. Let's just say, right? Let's just say that it's in the thumbnail, you clicked on it. Let's just say that Nezuko, right? Like, let's just say, all I gotta say is sheesh. I can't, I don't even know how to dance around it. Like what happens and the developments that happen, it opens the door and it's a door that was kind of first opened, I feel like, in that episode 19. It was a door that was creaked open in episode 19. And then in episode 6, that door gets freaking kicked in, dude. That door gets freaking kicked the heck in. And not only do we finally get to see that and what the implications of that can even start to be, there's also things that I've read, online about like what this new state, this new ability requires from this person and what it drives this person to sort of, not necessarily become, but, things that they normally wouldn't do, but now can't help but do. We got another donation. We got to shout out this donation. Doc Drops. Thank you, Doc Drops, so much. You think Vagabond will make a volume 2 on the pod? That was something that we were talking about really, really, really quick. I'm going to get back. I'm going to put a bow on my Demon Slayer thoughts. But just to address this real quick, that was something we kind of talked about in the announcement video about having all these series that we want to continue to do, but just not enough time for all three of us to get together and to constantly do them. And, especially, with One Piece and Bleach and then sprinkling the other volume 1s throughout, wanting to get back to Dandadan and keep up with that, and wanting to keep up with Spy Family and wanting to keep up with me, like wanting to keep up with Pluto and Witch Hat Atelier and wanting to keep up with all these things. And 20th Century Boys, Megan's talked about really wanting to continue that, and all these things. Since Vagabond and Slam Dunk are related, and I've really wanted to read Slam Dunk for a long time now. It has also gotten, or has me looking back on like my experience reading Vagabond a little more fondly, and really wanting to give it not necessarily a second chance, because I don't think it's anything that any of us didn't enjoy. I think we enjoyed it, but I think it was just the hype for it was so, in our heads at least, was so big that when we finally got around to it, it just didn't seem to deliver on that hype. And that's our fault, really, for buying into that, because it becomes what it becomes later on. And it was a very, good volume 1. It just, again, when you build things up in your head to be something else. So I have been looking back on it fondly and have been wanting to continue it. So all I'm going to say is that part of this new format that we're doing, and everybody's going to be streaming, everybody's going to be doing their own solo stuff, not just me. And I think that you guys really got through to Megan, really got through to Cody in our Christmas live, if you guys were there for that. Because, again, I am not the only one who streams because of any other reason than I just love to do it. I love being able to talk to you guys and interact with you guys in this way. I also love, doing the volume 1s and doing the volume 10s and just, reviewing and discussing these series that I love with my friends, but to be able to connect with you guys and to read the chat and just feels more personal to me, and I really enjoy it. But it's something I think that Megan and Cody were a little more hesitant, or a little more, truthfully, maybe a little more, maybe even a little shy about doing, but on their own, because you take away one or two people, more of the focus. I mean, it's more pressure, it's more focus, and I think that's something they were a little, not afraid of, but weary of. But I really think that you guys on the Christmas Live telling them, like, I really want to see this, I really want to see that, I really want to see this, I really want to see that, like, really sort of just did, just solidify or like confirm to them that it's something that you guys are interested in, and it's something that they feel now, I think, more confident and more excited about doing. So that's all thanks to you guys. You guys are the freaking best. So expect more of that. And someone said air horn. Here we go. Air horn for another donation from Mad Dog. Mad Dog just shot us over some money for a dono. And I just want to tell you, Mad Dog, you didn't leave a comment or anything. But we love you too. We love you too. But with Vagabond, with all these things, expect us to cover more series, but possibly in different pairings, right? So Vagabond is something that I would like to read. I can't guarantee that like Megan and Cody will want to read it, but why can't we do, like, if that's the case, that it's either like we just don't ever get to cover these series, and like we as individuals don't get to read and talk about these series because there's so many things. And I'm sure like that, again, kind of back to the One Piece thing, but I'm sure that that's something that like, Cody would rather spend his time, reading this and catching up with this and talk about this, and maybe do a video essay, or maybe do a solo sort of podcast formatted video about it, and Megan read this and read that, and I can read what I want to read, and it's just going to allow us to, again, and to that like burnout thing, not put the pressure of like, okay, well now everybody has to read this, everybody has to read this, and then everybody has to, on top of all that, read these things throughout the week, on top of like, recording the episodes, and now taking on more of the responsibility and editing, helping with the editing, and now on top of streaming. So it was just a way to like kind of cover more things, but not to increase the workload for everybody, to kind of be able to cover more, but also do it in a way that everybody feels like it's possible and doesn't, weigh on them too much. So that's just kind of what that is. But anybody who's out there who, I mean, maybe I feel it a little bit if you're out there getting back to Demon Slayer. Maybe if you're like, I want to wait till all season 2 comes out, or I'm a manga reader only. Even if you are a manga reader only, I mean, that's an episode like for me when I was reading My Hero and not watching the anime. There were things that I had to go back and I had to watch in the anime, even though, like I've mentioned this before, it's hard for me if I've already read something to go back and really sit through everything. But there are moments that I think you have to go back and you have to watch. And if you're a manga reader only, you gotta go back and watch that episode. You have to go back and watch that episode. It's a fantastic season so far. It was a little slower of a start than I would have liked for it to be, but I do think that just seems to be kind of a standard, at least for the Demon Slayer anime. Like it always is sort of a slower build up to a really big payoff. And I really felt like they're starting to pay things off in a really big way. And I've been hearing that the Entertainment District is a lot of people's maybe not favorite. I think I have heard a lot of people say it's their favorite arc, but even if it's their favorite or not, a lot of people really, really do enjoy this arc. And so I'm really excited. It's been a great season, with ranking being a surprise, hit for me, and then getting to catch up on Demon Slayer and that being great. And now, with things like My Dress Up Darling and all these other series that we talked about today, AOT coming out, like it's a pretty cool start to the year, to the anime year. So someone asked about this earlier, and I think they might be asking about it again, or somebody else. Josh, are you excited for the Among Us manga, which you could potentially give us an Among Us anime, or give us an Among Us anime if it's popular enough? You know what? Fuck it. Yeah, dude. I mean, the more crossover, I just feel like the more hype, the more like, yeah, the more shit that's going to get made. Dude, they made a freaking Cruella manga, okay? Based on the movie that I bought and that I read and that I never got a chance to talk about, but was actually really good and was drawn really well. And whenever they do like these, like, just take this video game that was super popular and now they're going to make a manga about it, and then hopefully that manga or possibly that manga will get turned into an anime. Fuck it. Hell yeah, dude. Let's go. Let's make other fucking games into anime too, dude. Let's make they already have they made a Supernatural anime off that CW show, or I think it was a CW show. Yeah. Supernatural. I mean, let's go. Let's make everything into anime. And that's not a joke. That's not me being crazy. Let's make everything into anime. Okay. Let's make a Five Nights at Freddy's anime. How freaking lit would that be? Let's do that. Someone says I still got to get to Ranking of Kings, but I also want to recommend catching up to Undead Unluck. To everyone only gets better over time. Undead Unluck. Right now, I'm going to ask you guys a question, and I want to get your honest answer. Undead Unluck is also on my list of series, my personal list that I really have been wanting to catch up on. For me, right now, my personal list would be, for sure, Witch Hat Atelier. I think the art is beautiful. The magic system is incredible. I was absolutely blown away by that series. And then you got Pluto, which on an emotional level and a storytelling sort of detective mystery, futuristic Blade meets, Astro Boy, obviously, sort of Urasawa masterpiece. Like, Pluto's on that list too. Undead Unluck is also on that list. There's people in our Discord that are constantly talking about how great that series really is. And I remember, when we did our Undead Unluck episode, I think Cody and Megan, Megan did enjoy it. And I think Cody was a little on the fence about it. It wasn't really taken by it. But for me, I remember really loving and really connecting with that series. Undead Unluck, to me, the first volume was so great, so fun. And it also felt so nostalgic. The art style felt very reminiscent of like 90s, manga. And I was absolutely in love with what I read. Fast forward to hearing people in the Discord talk about how much they love it and how great it's continued to be and even gotten. And I really have been thinking about catching up on Undead Unluck and then maybe doing a video on it, or maybe, doing it either in a podcast format or, to maybe cut out. I don't know. It's I really sometimes, getting your feedback, it really helps us out a lot, because I do think like a video essay style format would kind of cut out all of the maybe rambling that would be in between some of the points or I don't know, the review. It would make it more concise and more palatable for more people. But at the same time, whether it's in a video essay style or a podcast format style, like that's another series that I really want to talk about, and I would really love to catch up on. Let's see. Someone said, Autumn Arc in Undead Unluck, truly top tier shonen writing. My manga of the year for 2021. If you liked Volume 1, you ain't seen nothing yet. Something about Undead Unluck art style makes me automatically hate it. It makes me automatically love it because it just, again, does feel very nostalgic. It does feel like, it was sort of a 90s anime that, was dug up. Was undug Unluck. Yeah, that was bad. Bad one. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if that's something you would be interested in, please. You guys plan to do another Dan episode? I'm caught up currently and think it keeps the great quality in horror. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think Dan, without a doubt. We just like to wait for enough chapters to come out for us to have a good amount of source material or manga chapters to talk about. And I feel like we're getting to that point where there's enough to warrant an episode on. It's, just tricky because, like, we do an episode and then a couple weeks go by and there's 2 chapters out. And it's like, it's maybe not worth, all 3 of us, sitting down and talking for X amount of time to cover 2 chapters. So I think now we're getting to the point where there's starting to be enough chapters out where another episode, Dan discussion, will be coming out soon. All right. Well, I also want to say, when it comes to streams, I want to ask you guys how. I don't know where everybody's at. Everybody's got different opinions. There's some crossover in interests in the anime and manga community. As you guys know, my inner gamer has been recently awoken, and there's a new game coming out. And even when I talked about, I did my first game stream over on Patreon, exclusively for our Patreon and YouTube members. I streamed Five Nights at Freddy's, which I was planning on putting a clip out of. If you guys want to see a little bit from that stream, I think enough time has maybe passed now where the Patreon and YouTube members, not only do they get to see it live, but they, have had enough time to all see it so that they still get the exclusivity factor of watching it first. That I wouldn't also be opposed to putting the whole thing out if everybody else wanted to see it. But a clip seems probably for the best. Either way, I had so much fun playing that game. I had so much fun streaming that game. And in that stream, I talked about my relationship with gaming and a game series that I grew up loving. A game series that I made a deal with myself. I made a deal with myself and I said, Josh, for the rest of your life, no matter how old you get, make yourself this promise. Number 1, never step foot on a DDR machine. And that's sounds funny and sounds weird. I don't know what it was as a kid. I saw people doing it and I was like, I never want to do that. And it's something that, like, as I've grown up, I've wanted to. I've wanted nothing more than to step on a DDR machine, and really dance my heart out. As a matter of fact, I feel like it's holding me back, and I really want to do it now because I've grown out of that mindset. But alas, it is a deal that I made with myself, and it's a deal I must keep. I must be a man of my word. The other deal that I made to myself was no matter how old I get, that I must, for the remainder of my life, play every single Pokemon game as it is released. Okay, I have played every single one, and sometimes I would even buy a new Nintendo system just to play Pokemon, and then I would trade all of it in. Trade the system in, trade the game in, whatever, because I'm not Richie Rich over here, but I would save up a little bit of money, and if I needed to buy a DS, I'd buy a DS, buy the game, play it, and then return it, trade it in or whatever. But I played every single one. I played every single one. And at the end of this month, Pokemon, I believe it's called like Arceus, is coming out. And I am so freaking excited for this game because it finally looks like they are, doing what a lot of fans of this game franchise have been asking them to do since day freaking one. And now they've had the capability of doing it. For whatever reason, it just felt like they were remaking every game, every storyline with just new characters, a new skin over it. It was the same kind of game with just updated graphics and a new skin over and over and over and over and over. Same, same mechanics, same everything. But this finally looks like something new, and it finally looks like something different. And we've been hurt before. The Pokemon game fan community have been hurt before, and we've been lied to before, frankly. With some DLC that they did recently, and then just only having a certain amount of Pokemon in the game, was a little bit of a slap in the face. On top of, some of the graphics in the previous game, kind of seemed like they were a downgrade instead of an upgrade. But, neither here nor there. I am so freaking excited to play Pokemon Legends Arceus. I'm so excited, and I've pre-ordered it. I have pre-ordered the game. And it will be getting here, I think on the 28th is going to be coming out. And if that's another thing, maybe it'll be Patreon exclusive. Maybe it'll be for everybody if everybody seems interested. I want to talk about Undead Unluck. I want to catch up on that. I want to do a Pokemon Legends Arceus stream. I want to stream the freaking heck out of that game. So that's another thing too. If enough people care, if enough people want to see it. Someone said if you're looking for this is from Enox, if you're looking for a good sport manga, Hajime no Ippo is great. Heard nothing but great things about Hajime no Ippo. Boxing, I believe, heard nothing but great things about it, and that's another one that I'm getting to. Even though I'm not the biggest sports fan in real life, I do really appreciate and love a good sports manga. I mean, I think Blue Lock was really, really good and unique, and I loved the direction that it went. And especially with that anime coming out soon too, I am more excited to see more of it, to read more of it, for other people to be introduced to it. Fantastic. When I was younger in high school, I read Ice Shield Nichuichi, Ice Shield 21. And was actually like really, really into it. I've never been a fan of football, never, liked football. And as a matter of fact, working in customer service in restaurants for most of my life, I actually even grew to like hate the people who would come to the restaurants to just watch the games, And that made me maybe hate the sport a little bit more. But, Ice Shield Nichuichi, Ice Shield 21, such a great series. Such a great I read the manga and watched the anime, both really phenomenal for me at that time, especially, and that says a lot, especially saying, since I had no attachment and didn't care at all for football. Really good. So I wanted to figure out what the volume one is. We got a lot of good contenders. I'm going to run them by everybody. I got a little list that I've made. And remember to stay tuned for that. I did promise, if anybody cared, a little bit at the end here, maybe right up until the 2-hour mark. If anybody cares at the very end, I would like to talk for a little bit about Scream, the new Scream movie that I saw. I would like to talk, a little bit. I would like to talk a little bit about. This is like maybe more niche, so maybe it really doesn't need to be discussed here at the end. But I know the internet was very upset at the Dexter New Blood finale. But really, I think because it is sort of applicable, and it is really sort of something that is also happening in the anime and manga community. This idea, like I mentioned in the beginning, of like these requels that Scream is sort of like referencing in the movie. And, you know, Scream has always been this like meta movie, sometimes to its advantage, sometimes to its disadvantage. But it was a really, 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 really good movie. And said a lot about the state of sort of horror movies now, with all these franchises, you know, doing sequels and reboots. And even like I said in the beginning of this stream with Boruto, and even, you know, when you read that Bleach one shot and you kind of see certain people's kids start to get more of the focus and things start happening. And one of them seems to be the catalyst for a lot of events that are going to be unfolding in that storyline in the future. And so it is this idea idea that, you know, you can't have a reboot or a sequel without legacy characters, right? Which is why David Arquette and Courtney Cox, and I always forget the other actress's name who plays Sydney. You know, you have to have these characters come back. And again, I go back to Boruto, which there was a comment. Someone said I like talking shit about things I haven't even read. I've read Boruto. Okay, I'm not caught up, and I've watched a fair amount of Boruto. Again, I'm not caught up by any means. But also, you know, my brother being a huge Naruto fan, therefore a huge Boruto fan, just because he's someone, whether it's a good series or not, is someone who just will consume anything, you know, Naruto, because it's something that he's, you know, always loved. And I've always loved too. But I think for me, it's just like, you know, I kind of, by the time Boruto came around, I did kind of move on, for better or for worse. But yeah, I've heard that it's gotten a lot better. My brothers made me sit down and watch recent arcs and specific episodes where like very big things happen to very big characters that have been a part of Naruto since the very first couple of chapters. Some very, you know, nice emotional moments and payoffs that, you know, we never thought that we were going to get to see. So I've seen a good amount, and I've read a decent amount. It's not something I'm opposed to reading more of either, just again, mostly for nostalgia. But when we talked about our legacy, and someone commented here, low-key agree on Kubo having a better legacy than Kishimoto so far. Can't wait. Yeah, for the 1,000-Year Blood War. I think, yeah, I mean, it's to me, it's kind of, it is, you know, you can say whatever you want to say about each specific series, but just the level of hype and excitement for the return of Bleach, to me, you know, taking out whether it's a series that you personally like or don't like, the fan community for Bleach the hype seems way more real for the return of Bleach than it did for the announcement of Boruto. And I think that that's because if you're playing the long game, that there was that period of time where it was gone. It gave a lot of people a lot of different chances to do a lot of different things. It gave, you know, people a chance to catch up or to find it for the first time, to love it. It gave, you know, other people time to really appreciate, you know, what they had and miss it and want it. It gave, you know, absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? It made people want to see it again. And maybe the people who were harsh on it maybe started to even feel like they had taken this thing for granted. I mean, over time, you know, feelings change. Nostalgia can, you know, be a cause for these, like, you know, rose-tinted glasses or whatever, or you can look back on something fondly. Even though I think Bleach is an amazing, amazing series, and I'm so excited for Megan and Cody to get to experience it for the first time. But I think that's where Kubo ended up making it, you know, making the right decision for better or for worse. And I feel like at the time he was struggling a lot. Like at the time, for sure for him, I feel like he felt like, oh, Kishimoto is winning. Kishimoto's doing. I'm sure maybe there was a part of him that felt like he was failing or not able to keep up, because he had spoke about how it was just wearing on him and how he wasn't enjoying it anymore. And I think that is a very common thing that happens to a lot of people. And for whatever reason, Kishimoto had the team or had, whatever he needed to continue to move forward without there being sort of any real gap. I mean, he did kind of go off and try his hand at a new series, Samurai 8, which got canceled, which is unfortunate, and which we read the first volume of and talked about, I think, in like an audio only episode way back when we first started. But yeah, I mean, in terms of legacy, I think that Kubo accidentally maybe, but over time has just, I think, will go down maybe in history with as in terms of like between the two of them, which series, because again, like, not to harp on Boruto too much, because I do know that, once Samurai 8 got canceled, Samurai 8, yeah. Once Samurai 8 got canceled, Kishimoto did go back and was like script supervisor, or was like supervising Boruto. And, apparently Boruto, the manga, the anime has, already kind of not learned from the mistakes of its father. But there was a lot of filler in the manga was great. The manga was fantastic for a lot of those hardcore fans. But again, I think, like, in terms of, like, I don't know, when people look back, I think that people will look back on Bleach more fondly, because at the end of the day, regardless of how I feel about the series or not, there is something about Boruto, regardless of how much you like it or don't like it, there is something about it from an outsider looking in that does feel like a cash grab. Whereas with Bleach, it doesn't feel that way. It feels like the fans brought it back. It feels like the fans revived it. It feels like a labor of love. It feels like a return to form. It feels like the return of one of the greats. And people have already sort of looked past and forgave it for its faults, because they're so excited for, and that excitement has sort of maybe erased those things. So yeah, I don't know. And again, there's some talk. Let's just go to the chat for a second. Jump did Kubo dirty when he wanted to end it. They wouldn't let him, and when he didn't want to end it, they forced him to. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about, and I think that even the state of the manga, it's still bad, but the mangaka, and manga industry and anime, even studio, just the culture around it, I think, is getting better. I don't think it's, by any means fixed or solved or perfect, but I think it's getting better, and I think creators are getting a lot more power and control, but there's still, a long way to go. Someone said, agree, definitely feels like Kishimoto was done with Naruto, wanted to move on, but Shinetsu kept the cash cow going on and on and on and on. Yeah, and like I said, like, this is like taking feelings out of it, whether you like Boruto or not like it, because I have also, and again, my brother, someone personal to me in my life, is a fan of this series. And from what I've seen and what I've read, and like that Naruto movie with Boruto in it, I thought was a great movie. I thought it was an awesome movie. And then the Boruto series, the anime, went back and, kind of redid that moment, maybe did it more faithful to the manga, but I loved it when they did it again in Boruto. And I there was again, I'm gonna be vague so I don't spoil anything. But again, seeing some of these payoffs and seeing some episodes that my brother sat me down and forced me to watch, not forced me to watch, but asked me to watch with him, and I've been happy to watch with him. I've enjoyed what I've seen. But this is just taking out whether you like it or you don't like it. It just looks like and feels like a cash grab, because again, Kishimoto himself went. It doesn't mean that it can't be a cash grab and be good, but Kishimoto himself, it kind of speaks to the fact that he much rather wanted to make something new, and he much rather preferred, I think, to go and try his hand at a different series. And he gave the Naruto franchise and what would be the Boruto franchise, he put it in the hands of assistants and people who I'm sure he believed were very capable. But he himself, I think as a creator wanted to move on to the next thing, or wanted to see what he could do, what else he could do. And that's why it was kind of unfortunate that Samurai 8 I guess failed. But I still got a lot of respect for Kishimoto. And I still think that he created one of the best series that I've ever watched. Naruto, to me, whether it's nostalgia or maybe again my view is I'm biased, but that will always and forever be my childhood, as well as Bleach and Kubo. And that's the thing too, like Kubo, Oda, Kishimoto, they're all so different, and they all affected me so different. Like Kubo, like Kishimoto made me want to like write manga, or even like write like stories and just like write. And his worlds and his concepts and his characters were so cool. Kubo, same, but Kubo made me want to draw. Like Kubo's style inspired me to start drawing. And a lot of my early, drawings in high school, I'm just freaking copying Kubo, like 100%. They've all affected, me personally, and I think everybody else in such different ways. They're so different. They've really, really all like made something, each of them, incredibly special. I think that goes without saying. But all right, let's just go through the chat and then we'll wrap things up. This new era of Jump is way more conductive to more creativity. Yeah. I love the memes of people saying Boruto is just Dragon Ball DT filler dream the characters they are having. Yeah, I think for me it does seem like Jump, they are taking a lot of chances, and I think that's also like with that change, like it's also because of, I think, the internet, and it's so crazy, and I think I talked about it in another live too, but it's so crazy that like how much like TikTok has done for the anime community. Like I think I go into a Barnes & Noble now, and it's so funny, dude, because I went into a Barnes & Noble, and these girls, like, you can't help but eavesdrop. I can't help but eavesdrop. I'll be in the manga section, and I just like to hear kind of what everybody's talking about. They're talking to their friends, like, oh, you got to read this, you got to read that, you got to read this, you got to read that. And there were these two girls there, and they were younger. They, looked, I don't know. They looked like they were maybe, I don't know. They looked like they could have either been in middle school or high school, but peripherally, I was listening to them, and it was so funny. And why they caught my ear in the first place is because, one friend is just like telling the other girl, like, oh, you got to check out Demon Slayer. Oh, you got to check out Death Note. Oh, you got to check out Naruto. Oh, you got to check out Bleach. Oh, you got to check out like all these like, these like heavy hitters. And just this girl, like she was a character from a movie, like she's like one of the brat, like from Willy Wonka or something, like just like a caricature of a person. It's just standing there, and she's just like Bleach mid, Death Note mid, Demon Slayer mid, just like and she's not trying to be funny, and it just really, it's so crazy because I don't know, you just hear I don't know, these it's just wild to me, because I feel like for me in high school, I again felt so I don't know, alienated. I felt so like I felt like there was nobody else in my high school, and I'm sure there were. I just didn't talk to them, but I just felt like I just felt like I could never really have that conversation. I could never meet people at that age who cared about manga or anime, and it's just so funny. And I do think that, you know, because of TikTok and everything, which has done like so many good things to exposing like a younger generation to anime and manga, which is like awesome. Because like on top of that, you know, I'll leave and then I'll walk around the mall, and in freaking Zoomies, there's a huge Jujutsu Kaisen poster in the window at Zoomies, and you know, then you walk down and you see box lunch, and there's like fruits basket, you know, in the window, and then you keep walking, and Hot Topics always kind of stuff, but you know, I all that to say that it's just really cool to see like this generation and anime and manga, the fandom to keep growing, and it's just like what a funny conversation like that. I mean, and I'm gonna call her a stupid little girl because I was a stupid guy. I was a stupid kid when I was that age. But she's just like, just to see her like mid, and her friend to be like, no, these are the most amazing things I've ever read in my life, which is a funny thing to see. And I think that like Jump and like what they've been doing in the series that they've been, you know, pushing, and how, you know, they have made this like transition over to digital, and how like the digital subscription is only like $2 or $3 a month. And their catalog and like Undead Unluck and like everything else that, and it is unfortunate that things like that, the Hunters Guild, the Red Riding Hood, and even, you know, Cody was really kind of rooting for Candy Flurry. Like, it is unfortunate that some of these series don't get a little bit longer and feel like they have to be rushed to get to a more interesting place faster, so that they stay in the magazine, or so that they stay in the app or whatever. But it is, I mean, sometimes I feel like you can get like good stories can come from that, like from that competitive nature. Like on one hand, that's why, you know, books will forever, I think, be, you know, novels will forever be the last bastion of like, you know, free creative, like you could write whatever you want to write, without, I feel like, little to no limitations. Like you could just kind of really do whatever, and like you'll read some crazy shit in a book, like some foul shit in a book, and it's like, yeah, no one's canceling people, no one's like, you know, there's no pressure. I mean, there's pressure from like the publishers and stuff, but I just feel like it's not the same as like Jump, that competitive nature of like, oh, there's always all these new series, all these hungry creators, mangaka, that are trying to get into this, you know, really huge, onto this huge platform. And it, you know, I do think it can be bad, and it can stifle creativity or can hurt stories. But I also think, on the other hand, you know, if there's a devil and an angel, I think the angel of it is like, it can also make for really great storytelling, and can really, like, you know, put pressure on people to really come up with some pretty cool stuff. And you know, sometimes like as a creative, I think too, like not having time to like overthink things can kind of actually in the long run benefit a story, because sometimes you can get too lost in the sauce, you know what I'm saying, and too fixated on things that don't matter. You can still plant seeds and do whatever you do, but I think in with that competitive nature, you don't have the luxury, and that's sort of like how it feels on YouTube sometimes too. Like, I don't have, like, when I'm putting together these episodes, like, or our main episodes, like, there's sometimes where like I do want to add more graphics, and I do want to add more, you know, I would like to cut more to like panels of the manga, or if we're talking about an anime and we're talking about how, you know, it looks great or it looks whatever, then I would like to cut to that. Or there's just so many other things that I would love to do. And sometimes I get lost and I get stuck on little things, but because of the nature of, like, you know, wanting to be consistent and put out something every week on a platform where that is very competitive, it's like, you know, sometimes you just don't have time. And I think that can be to the benefit or the detriment of the creative. And it's really up to them. Because for me, I am a person that gets like fixated on things, and when you have a schedule to kind of stick to, you don't really have that luxury. And I think it could be the same way with writers in Jump specifically too, because what a stressful situation to be in. Someone said this is the year of Bleach and Kubo confirmed. We're getting news on Burn the Witch. I love to see it. Yeah. I think that also too, I think Bleach got confirmed not too long ago. I don't know how recent or how old or how new this news is, but that it's going to be coming out in October of 2022. I think there was something that was released by Viz that said it's going to be coming out in October. So yeah, this is the year of Bleach. Let's make it a freaking Bleach ass year, dude. But yeah, a little ramble at the end, but you know, it is what it is. I think we're going to wrap it up, but thank you guys for, you know, coming, hanging out. Like I said, I love talking to you guys. I love, you know, just being here with you guys and getting to hear your thoughts, your opinions on things in the chat. It's always cool to be here and spend time with you. But unfortunately, we've gone over 2 hours now. I'll go, you know me, dude. I'll go for 4 hours, but then it's just like, what am I even saying? You know what I mean? But thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned. Volume 1 live for our Patreon members and YouTube members tomorrow at 1:30, and then that'll be coming out on, I think, Monday for everybody else. And then Saturday, Volume Duns will be live. It's going to be One Piece again, 1:30 p.m. PST. And then it'll be coming out on Thursday for everybody else, live for our Patreon YouTube members. So much other cool stuff planned. Some stuff I talked about in this video about how we're going to start to cover other series, maybe independently, maybe in other types of video formats. But thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you guys have a great rest of your Friday. And yeah, until next time, I guess I'll see you in the next Volume 1. Done or some.